How are you now?
Goodbye.
How are you now? Is the question.
Who?
Those guys.
Oh, them out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're back. It's Wednesday night for the 95,000th time in 75 years. We've been here forever. What? Chris has grown 6 beards and old too. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I think quite a bit. You've slid.
Mm-hmm.
You've let yourself slide over the years.
Downhill slide.
Welcome to String Theory here at Ginger's Barn. The lovely Ginger's, of course, in the house. The lovely Chris Coots in the house. The big fat slobs in the house. We're here with our partners Boucher, Levy's G&G Music, the Guitar House. The MP3 is going to skip in it. Brick House Guitars, the Guitar House Acoustic Shop in Springfield, Missouri, Parkway Music in Albany, New York, K&K Pickups, Gallagher, Alvarez, Gary, St. Louis Music, Yamaha, Close Guitars, Cody Guitars, D'Addario, Apollo Picks, Epiphone Picks, Blue Chip Picks, Slab, LR Bags, Maestro Jose Guitars, George Crackett, Emerald Guitars, Avenir, of course, made by Hosan, Nova Scotia SPCA, Charm Life Picks, Pickers Grip, Canary Guitars, Edmonton, Shenmo, Flamang, Cirrus, Rickard Banjos, Deering Banjos, Bedell, Breedlove, Bromo, Dreamwood, Loudon, and our newest partner, JJB Pickups, right there in Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, right down the road from
Detroit.
From
Michigan.
Shit. I'm having a brain fart. Can't remember the name of any towns now. I don't even know where I am now.
You're on.
We are on, and welcome
to
String Theory. Here's John and Chris and Ginger. And welcome back to me and you.
You're having a time tonight already. Are the meds wearing a little thin?
It's the interpretive dance of the evening.
Okay. Wow. I think you watched way too much MTV or much music when you were somewhat less aged.
Aged. I'm aged.
Back in the day.
You're aged. Aged?
Agent. Special agent.
Special agent. Where's your shoe phone? Produce it now. I want to see it.
Maxwell Smart.
Yes. Does that mean she's 99?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. I'm special ed and she's 98.
9.9.
Yeah.
She's almost a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a smart one.
If you look at her quick, she is a 10.
She's a smart one. We were in a meeting earlier today, and I just kept realizing how smart she actually is.
I've known this for years.
Ginger?
Yes?
How did you get so SMRT?
SMRT.
My father raised me right.
I want some scotch. We've got to the point now where, on this show, we really don't give a fuck anymore.
That's the first F-bomb of the night.
So
it's kind of uncalled for.
Cheers.
It's kind of out of left
superfluous
field. We're going to enjoy this
superfluous
Lagavulin.
Incredibly superfluous.
8-year-old Lagavulin right now. Oh, God.
I'm enjoying this Casamigos that you got me.
So, is that tequila?
Wonderfully for my birthday.
Yes, yeah, I did.
The old mezcal.
Yes.
Oh, you can see it inside the bottle.
Oh, you see it sloshing around there. Yeah.
Is there a critter in there?
So, yeah.
No, there's no worm in that one.
Oh.
So, yeah. There's no Capo Corner this tonight.
Nobody died.
Except for I just want to, make a list of all the stupid questions I get every day. Like,
how gracious of you.
Yeah. Like, what kind of strings do you use?
That's not a stupid question.
What kind of pick do you use?
That's not a dumb question.
It's not. You just hear it a lot,
how
but
big is
the person has never heard the answer.
I'm
So
going-
it's,
Irritated?
Guys,
you just need
I'm
to.
going for a joke here. Yeah, they blew it. I'm only kidding. They didn't let me.
It's the reason you're here.
They immediately thought I was serious and started.
It's the
Did you
reason
see
you're
what they
here.
did?
Why do you
Did
do
you
that?
see what they did?
Ginger,
I was
why
just
did you
trying.
do
I was
that?
setting up a joke, and they're like, yeah, and then I couldn't do the joke anymore. So.
First question goes to.
No. I'm the only one who gets to say that. Not
There's
you.
also no question yet. So just
Captain
keep on going.
There's no questions. Yes.
Captain Bubbly
All right, go ahead.
over there.
All right, go ahead. Plather on uselessly about
Oh,
something.
I'll plather.
God.
Watch me plath.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Found a pick
Good.
in the pick jar.
Yeah, that was a stretch.
I
for
just
you.
happen to have this guitar here.
That
Well-
wonderful Epiphone.
While you're playing that guitar, you should play classical gas
Why?
because it's Corey McCormick's birthday tomorrow, and he asked for it.
What?
Corey McCormick's birthday tomorrow. He asked for classical gas.
If I could play it for you, I would, buddy.
You can play some of it.
Yeah. Improvise.
I knows you can.
Gaelic
all,
Gimp.
all of my picks are over there, over yonder.
Well, what do you need? I'll grab it.
Is there
Would
a
you-
white thumb pick over there? Yeah, that's the one I need.
What else do you need?
There should be a black pick with holes in it. Is that over there somewhere? Just laying around?
Yep. Got it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was recording all day.
Give Corey some gas.
Oh, I'm going to give him some gas. all right.
Corey's got some gas.
I can't play this anymore.
Drink it.
Just fake it.
Fake it till you make it?
Yeah.
I love this guitar. From the custom shop in Montana.
It's a very balanced sounding.
I told you to remember how to play it. Son of a bitch. Sorry, Mason. I haven't played it in so long. I'm missing about 30 parts, but that's the basic
It's a
idea.
wicked tune.
It's one of the most brilliantly composed pieces of pop music ever in the history of music.
I remember when it came out.
Me too.
I remember when it came out.
It came out the year before I was born,
Yeah.
1968. But it was subsequently one of the first things I ever heard. Because my brother had the
And it was-
45 RPM
It was
record.
popular for a long, long
listen,
time.
Here's something that you guys might not know. Classical Gas was the only instrumental piece of music ever to be number one on the Billboard charts. Ever. It has never been surpassed. No one has ever put an instrumental at number one.
I can
That was
remember
the
hearing
first
it
one.
on AM radio
Yeah.
with Rod Stewart and Elton John and
Yeah.
like Did I said Rod Stewart?
Yes.
That's what
Yeah.
you started with, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
As a matter of
As a matter of fact, that's the guy I meant.
you're getting a little bit sloppy in your old age.
French toast, I'd love a piece.
Yes, I want taquitos.
I'll just add more
So-
alcohol.
If you want to hear that, when I was playing it actively, it's on the new album. In full production.
With all the notes.
I copied Mason's version exactly, the band, the orchestra, everything. Took a week for me to do it.
Put it together. Yeah.
It was fucking ridiculous. There's so much going on in that. Not only that, we have to remember something. Mason Williams was a mega threat. He was a comedy writer, a really talented one. That's how he got on the Smothers Brothers with his song. Was
Comedy.
he wrote comedy for them. With Jim Stafford was on them too, right? Mm-hmm. So not only was he a comedy writer, he was a composer, an Americana expert. He frails banjo and sings all the old, like he's a crazy historian.
Right.
Plus, all the music you hear on Classical Gas, the string parts, all that, he wrote them.
He arranged it all.
He
and
wrote it.
Yeah.
All of it.
What a monster, eh?
See, he walked in, passed out all the charts, and that's how.
Here you go, boys.
And he played it live on the Smothers Brothers in 1968, and blew everybody's fucking mind. Like nobody
had
had
color
ever.
TV then.
No, it was all black and white,
Yeah.
man. Like I mean, I watched that video on YouTube, and he's sitting there, in the black jacket with all the white frills everywhere. He like all dressed all. Victorian, and played, and I just was with the orchestra all around him. It was unbelievable, unbelievable. That's why that tune went so viral in those days, is because it was unlike anything that had ever been done.
And
right?
going viral back then took like 3 to 5 years
Yeah.
to go viral,
Yeah.
right?
Not only that, but like God bless him, like he made millions off that tune. Mm-hmm. This is back when publishing was worth something, and he made millions off that, and he deserved it, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and he just made a few more dollars off of me. Like, how many times has that been covered?
Yeah. Millions.
Holy shit, it's unreal. So there's a good capo. Here's to Mason Williams.
Mason.
I love that man.
And Jim Stafford. He was a
Jim,
monster,
yeah,
too.
and he recorded that tune
Yeah.
too. So did Glenn Campbell. So did Roy Clark. I did. Like there's just a bunch of Chet did.
I think Brian Wilson dying has triggered off a little renaissance for the Wrecking Crew, because there's been all kinds of references
Yep.
in my YouTube and stuff like that, pointing to the Wrecking Crew lately. All these little snippets and
Oh yeah,
documentaries.
it's coming in the feed.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you a quick story, and it's in the liner notes. When I was at the Chet Atkins Appreciation Society festival about, I don't know how many years ago now, maybe 15 or so, I was in the main hall to meet and see a guy named Tommy Emmanuel. I'd never heard of him. I didn't know who he was. And everybody was telling me, Tommy's coming, Tommy's coming. I said, who the fuck is Tommy? Tommy Emmanuel, man. I don't know who that is. That's savage. I should have known. Mm-hmm. As hard as I followed Chet, who actually made Tommy a CGP, Certified Guitar Player, officially gave him the title. There's only 7 of them ever. I should have known who that guy was, but I didn't know. So as I was a performer, I could get backstage and hang around, right? And when he came in, he was sitting very quietly, sort of in this little cubby hole, because it was in a big ballroom. It's in the big hotel in Goodlettsville, right? Or I think it's Goodlettsville. No, not Goodlettsville. It's just outside of Nashville, but it's this beautiful resort hotel. So he's sitting behind a little stage, one of those, the black plastic stages you build out of cubes,
Yep.
So he's sitting back there in a cubby hole, and I walked over and I said, I had my credentials on and everything, so he knew it wasn't some fucking guy. And I said, "How you doing, Mr. Tommy? I can't wait to hear you play. I've never heard you play before." And he just looked at me, and I said, "It was very nice to meet you." And he went, "It's nice to meet you too, mate." You know, just like he was really cool. So I left him and I went right just around the corner. There was a row of chairs behind the array for people with credentials to sit, and you were sitting, the stage was right there.
Yeah.
And you just looked to your right, and there was the performer. So I sat down in these chairs, and who sat beside me but Mason Williams and his wife.
Oh, yeah.
And I looked over and I said, "Man, I can't believe I'm sitting beside you." And he said, "Why?" He was so cool, right? I said, "Well," I don't mean to, you probably heard this a million times, but my first television appearance ever, when I was 9 years old on television, one of the tunes I played in this huge medley I did was Classical Gas. And he said, "I'm so proud of you. You were 9. I said, "Yes, I was 9. "Man," he said, "that must have been something. I wish I could have saw you play it when you were 9. I said, "Well, I did. It wasn't like you. It wasn't just like you, but it was, pretty damn close. I was close as I could get."
With a little
right?
bit of Classical Gas there herself.
Yeah. So we sat there. Sorry this is taking so long. It turned into a longer story than I thought. Well, we're sitting there, and Tommy goes on stage, and he plays his first number, and just melts everybody's face. I was just like, I'd never heard him. So I was sitting there in a coma. I was like, "You got to be kidding me. Who is this guy?" The second tune, he looks down at Mason and goes, "This is for you, maestro." And he starts playing Classical Gas. Well, as much as I love the original, and I copied the original, and I still think it's the greatest thing that's ever been done as an instrumental, ever recorded. Tommy Emmanuel's version of that tune is...
There's no recording
There's
of that instance, though,
you
right?
can't.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
Yeah.
And so interpretive and so in the moment what he did. And I'm sitting there and my jaw was hanging open.
He was just winging
Somebody
it,
spilled a whole glass of white wine down my back. And I didn't even move. I'm not shitting you. Somebody was sitting on the cabinets right behind me.
Yeah.
And they dropped their glass. It went right down my fucking back, and I just sat there. I was just blown away. And I looked at Mason Williams, and the tears were rolling down his face, like rivulets of tears, right? And we watched the whole set, 40 minutes. Rivulets. Yeah,
Rivulets.
Rivulets.
That's a $5 word.
Oh, man,
tonight.
yeah.
Rivulets.
So it's in the liner notes. We got up, and there was the hallway was right there. It was like a hallway went right down to the rooms, basically, sort of, right? We're walking down, me and him side by side, just silent, just walking down. His wife behind us, and I looked at him, and he looked at me. We walked a few more steps. He looked at me again. He said, "Did you ever see the likes of that?" And I went, "No, sir." And we walked down this long hallway side by side. And at the end of the hallway, I patted him on the shoulder and I said, "I love you, Mason." He said, "Thank you." And we split, and I never saw him again.
Wow.
But that was the most magic thing. To meet Tommy and not know who he was.
Yeah.
And sit there and listen to him play, and I just became convinced that I had seen the greatest guitar player in the world. Right beside Mason, who was crying. And I was almost crying watching because he was crying. And it was a magic moment. Those 10 minutes, right?
That's the beauty of music.
Never forget that as long as I live. Yeah. It's unbelievable. So yeah, I guess that's Capo Corner. So here's the Tommy and here's the Mason. And everybody, who was the birthday boy that wanted that?
Corey McCormick.
Corey, right on. Happy birthday, buddy.
Cheers, Corey.
Good choice of tunes.
Yeah.
And let's go to the first question.
First question is from Herb Michael.
That's new.
No.
Ah, shit.
Herb Alpert.
He's a master guitar head.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Sorry, Herb.
Or some kind of member, anyway.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. I thought it sounded new for a minute. The way she said it, she's drawn us into the cone of ignorance over there.
I don't think the code of ignorance is over here.
I think the cone of ignorance is right there. The cyclone of ignorance.
The cyclone of ignorance, yeah. What's the question?
He wants to know if you can list your concert venues for the summer on your website.
Yes, we're working on that. I yelled at people a couple of days ago. It's supposed to be up there. Sorry. It's a bunch of problems. But Stephen Baker does the site. So he's out speaking everywhere. He was in Latvia this week. So that's why it's not up. So
It will be up when
it
he's
will
home.
be up. Baker, get on your fucking... Pull your thumb out of your fucking ass and put my dates on the website, you fucking hairy bastard!
That's the fourth. You're cut off.
Okay.
No more superfluous F-bombs.
Next. Fucking next. Do it.
That's that. How's this that?
Just be pretty. Okay.
Mission Impossible.
Dun, 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 dun.
Shh. Just be pretty. Don't get all douchey McMahon bun on us.
You shouldn't say that in public.
Cut next.
Yeah, get next.
Super chat from Jamie Reed.
Hey, Jamie.
Alright, you two are pairs.
Just a second.
It's nice.
Save
Where's
us,
the mic?
Jamie.
Just like
Come put us out of our misery, Jamie.
Help us, Jamie.
Quick.
just blowing up the speakers with your phlegm. It's nice.
Jesus.
Lord.
Yeah, way to go, Coot.
Stop it.
Yeah, you don't even
Emphysema
smoke.
twins over there.
Jamie Reed. Jamie Reed.
The Lunger twins. Yeah, you
Well, I'll be your
yeah,
Huckleberry.
you stupid Lunger. I'll be your Huckleberry.
I'll be your Huckleberry. Jamie Reed. Jamie, pay attention.
Okay, Jamie. Go, boy.
If you could make a record with anyone alive or dead, who'd you choose? I'd choose the Beatles.
Anyone alive or dead?
We were just listening to the Beatles.
Yeah, I just listened. Okay, I'll tell you who. You know who I'd make a record with? Anybody alive or dead? Jerry Reed, all day long, all day long, all day long.
Yeah?
I would. Oh my God!
Yeah.
If I could just tap into his brain for 5 minutes and see how he constructed what he did. Oh my God! It'd be unbelievable. I mean, I'd be just sucking hind tit the whole time. I wouldn't even care. That would be my... If I could meet and record... I would be happy just to meet the man. Record a record with Jerry Reed. And I'm not talking about any Jerry Reed. I'm talking about Jerry Reed 1973. Like when he was at the height.
When he had the popcorn.
The popcorn.
Yeah, he had popcorn coming over the top of his head.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Just flying out
Yeah,
in all directions.
flying out.
Yeah. That would be, that would be my... Oh, my God. Just thinking about it gives me cold chills. You could pick a lot of guys. I mean, obviously...
Okay, that's a good question. Mm-hmm. Alive.
Oh, alive?
Yeah.
That's harder. Alive. I'd cut a record with Billy Strings.
Okay.
Just so I could show him how to play.
Dick.
I'm
What
lying.
is wrong?
I'm lying. I pick it up.
In his sassy era.
He's a badass.
Yeah.
But if anybody living, that would be the guy, because he obviously has done something that nobody else has been able to do, which is make old hairy-legged flat pickers cool to the entire world. He turned flat picking into arena rock. Right? What the hell?
Yeah.
That's the guy. If I could record a record with anybody alive, that would be him. And it would be just him. Me and him alone in a room, like me and Tim Eady, like it would kill.
Yeah.
We would make a wicked record together.
Do you notice there's a lot of Horkin and Heart Attacking and Arshdragon and...
Well, Jack's okay. No.
Jackie's okay. Jill's over there.
Jill's are cleaning her feet. And
I just cut her nails, and now she's unimpressed with the whole manicure.
All right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of... Okay, Kerr.
Life is life. What was that song? Remember that song?
Life is life.
Yeah.
I never got that song.
I didn't either.
Doesn't
It
make
was
any
a
sense.
huge hit.
Yeah, life
It was
is...
a world #1.
The masses are asses, though, right?
Yeah,
They
that's true.
just... Anyway. Connect.
I need to read this comment from Steven.
Uh-oh.
It says-
Does it have anything to do with fixing my website, bitch?
he says he's on it.
On what?
He says ticket links are a bitch to find. But he says Chris looks like the fat archaeologist Indiana Scones.
Indiana scones. Indiana scones.
That's a good one.
Indiana scones. Wait till I tell Dave that one.
That's a good one.
That's a
What
good
did Dave come up with for you the other week?
Oh, God.
What was it, Ginger?
It was pretty bad. It was funny as hell.
You remember it?
I don't remember. No. The last... I can't get the record of the Edmund Fitzgerald out of
Yeah,
my
but it
head.
was related.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cordon Lightfoot.
Oh, yeah.
Cordon Lightfoot, yeah. Yeah.
Because you eat everything.
That's right. And cook everything. Well, actually, I don't cook shit because Ginger's a better cook than me, so... Cordon Lightfoot.
Okay, so Dave
Indiana scones.
is in Australia currently
Yes.
playing.
It's 14 hours ahead.
Do you think
there.
he's made it yet?
Oh,
there.
yeah. I'm
Because
sure
he forgot the day that he was going to
Oh,
Australia.
he's in Melbourne now.
Oh, I know he's there
yeah.
now, but
Yeah.
he forgot when he was flying out.
How do you do that?
It's Dave. Yeah.
Jesus, Dave.
The panicked phone call on the way to the airport. What flights go to Toronto for the rest of the day?
Oh, he missed his flight to Toronto?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
my
he
God.
missed the first flight to Toronto, and then when he got there, he couldn't connect. He had to stay the extra night.
Oh, my God.
But
God
he
love him.
got in a day late, but he got
Yeah,
there today.
he got there.
He's in Melbourne now.
Yeah.
What a
Or
dork.
Melbourne. Melbourne, Australia.
Melbourne.
Kirk.
What is that accent? A question from Cameron Murgatroyd.
I love Karen Murgatroyd.
Thanks for your amazing advice the other week. Why do you think Canada has produced such amazing guitarists / builders? Yourself, Anton Dufour, Don Ross, Robin Boucher, etc.
Don Ross.
You want to know the real reason, and it's really simple, is isolation. That's if I was to like deconstruct myself, I as a guitar player, I came out of isolation. I had no contact with other players. I didn't even know there was other players until I was about 14 years old. I finally realized there were other musicians around in the Maritimes, right, that could actually play with me, that knew Doc Watson, that knew Tony Rice, Dan Crary, all this stuff. And the same thing goes for builders. You know, when John Larrivee started, John Larrivee is probably I would think, after Norman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Norman Boucher started the first boutique guitar company in Canada in isolation. He was in the middle of fucking nowhere in Quebec.
Yeah.
Nothing around. And John Larrivee, same way. He decided to start building guitars way back in the 60s and had there was no external influence on these guys.
There's no internet. There's no
there
there's
was
no
nothing.
exchange of ideas. There's no
He decided to build his guitars
Yeah.
strictly built based on geometry, much like the luthiers at Yamaha 80 some years ago decided they were only going to build guitars based on circles and how they interacted with each other to make the guitar body. Well, John did the same thing. He just changed the algorithm a bit, right?
Yeah.
But it was so he didn't look to the States. He didn't look to Nazareth. He didn't look to Kalamazoo. He just said, this is how I'm going to do this. and he built these guitars, and then he took all these people under his wing, like Grit Laskin and Linda Manzer, and all these people, right, that ended up building guitars based on Larave's principles, which are amazing. Like the old Larave guitars. Oh my God.
I love Larave guitars.
Man, I'd rather have an old Larave than just about anything. Like I'd have a Larave from the 80s when he was on fire and his wife was doing all the inlay, and oh my God, they were so good. And that's it. That's the answer to the question, is the reason, and I think that's true of anything, the reason guys get really good at stuff and it's original is because of isolation.
And we don't have that anymore.
No.
Like, that's impossible to find these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of great players. But the fact of the matter is, they were so influenced and constructed by the internet. It's hard to say, like,
There's no individuality anymore.
no.
Yeah. It's
hear-
saturation of ideas
Yeah,
now.
you
right?
hear one great player, you've heard all of them, because they're all just drawing from the same, whatever's available online, and everything's available.
Yeah.
So, I remember when Brian Sutton came out. When he first came out, he was an anomaly. He was the next thing after Rice. He took flat picking to some other level, playing with Skaggs, doing the thing. But then all the guys that came after him, and I'm not taking anything away from Cody Kilby or Jake Workman, they came after Brian. They had everything he did to learn from. Then they had the internet. Brian Sutton didn't necessarily learn from it. He was old enough, he was back far enough that he was still learning off of records and tapes and board tapes and bootleg tapes and meeting people and meeting Rice and meeting whatever, right? After him, it gets fuzzy. It gets foggy. How much of what is actually happening is original and how much is emulation plus expansion of the ideas. And that's now what makes players brilliant.
It's also dilution of the ideas.
Yeah.
Right?
You
To an
take
endless degree.
Yeah. And that's there's the brilliance of modern players now, is how much they dilute the original ideas and insert their own parts of the DNA. Right?
It's almost hard. It's hard to come by, though, because there's just nobody has the attention span anymore. Right? I see my attention span suffering where I go to watch something, but because it's become so fast paced and such small bites, you can't even get yourself to watch something because you're going like, okay, I'm already over it. Next.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't sit down for 10 minutes because we're just trained. It's a wonder anybody creates anything of value.
And what's scary, you and I, you're 60 and I'm hovering around it. And we didn't come up in that world.
No.
But yet, somehow, over the last 8-10 years, we too have become enthralled with that model. Just a little piece. Here you go, little piece, little piece, little piece, little piece. How the fuck did that happen?
Yeah.
If people our age can do it and grew up without it, and now we're all about it.
But I can see
right?
I can see the other side where sometimes I'll lock myself away in the shop.
Yeah.
And I'll turn all that off and start a project that needs nothing but time and days, and I'll obsess on it. You've seen me do it, right? Like restoring something, right? Whatever it is, whether it's a machining project, an electronics project, where I just obsess until it's done and nothing else happens for days. But I need that because it's longer. It's a long burn, and we don't. Some people don't know that.
And that you might have hit on something right there. That's the actual key to becoming a great guitarist.
You need the long, slow burn.
You need the long, slow burn. You need to, if okay, so let's say you're influenced by blam, 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 blam on the YouTube, whatever, big deal. Once you have heard it, don't even learn it. Once you've heard it, then you gotta lock yourself in a room, start figuring out who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
And how you're gonna play, and what your style is, what your tone is, and what everything.
But you didn't have the interruptions before.
Yeah, and
you could figure that out.
But you need
and today,
you need to
can't.
shut them out.
Right.
Shut them out.
Today you can't shut it down.
Shut
it's so
all
hard.
that shit out and go in a room
Yeah.
and live with yourself and your guitar. And if you have something to record yourself on, even better. Because you can record yourself doing your thing and play it back and go, okay, that's not what my brain is telling me I heard. That's not what I'm looking for. So change. And don't go to external sources to find out how to change. Find it in yourself, alone in the room. And this is a rabbit hole, but it comes right back around where we started. The reason that the great guitar builders and players are coming out of this country is because we had no influence.
Right.
We
weren't mainstream.
No, we had a concept. We saw things and heard things, but when the rubber meets the road, everybody went on in a little room by themselves and decided who they were. Mm-hmm. John Larrivee, Bruce Coburn, you know what I mean? Like all these guys that come out of Canada. That's it. That's a wicked question.
That's a good rabbit hole question.
Yeah, that was a great question. Yeah. Next.
There's a question from Stephen Baker.
Stephen Becker.
Which model is the Rocket? Is the Brazilian Rosewood Boucher, right?
No.
No?
It's Indian Rosewood, torrefied Adirondack top. I think it's a BG52, I think is what it is. Torrefied. BG52T. I'm not sure, but that's pretty sure that's what it is. It's not Brazilian. I would never own a Brazilian guitar. So.
Let alone a Brazilian of them?
What's that?
Let alone a Brazilian of them?
Yes, a Brazilian of them, yes.
I'll take a Brazilian.
Ebony's a Brazilian. Get next.
Question from Mr. Canelopoulos in Greece.
Oh, cool.
The guitar you were playing earlier, is it the Epiphone Frontier?
It is. It's not just any Epiphone Frontier. It's the one built in the custom shop in Montana. This guitar here is the real deal. It's the American Epiphone. Flame maple back and sides.
It's beauty.
It's an unbelievable guitar.
Yeah. The flame in it is the way the light catches it.
It retails about $6,000-7,000 Canadian, and
it's
I love it.
Such a balanced sounding guitar.
It's just a beautiful instrument.
How long has that been? Is that the one that just arrived?
What's that?
The other thing that just showed up, or has that been here for a
I've
while?
had this since way back.
Okay.
When I started promoting the IBGs.
Yeah.
Epiphone.
It sounds funny.
Built this for me and sent it to me.
It sounds funny to hear that it's an Epiphone built in the custom shop in Montana.
Listen to the voice.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable.
It's got some kind of natural compression to it that just keeps it dead level.
It's an Epiphone.
Yeah.
They didn't just build a Gibson and put Epiphone in the headstock. They used all of the original Epiphone specs from the 50s. And as we all know, there was a time when Epiphone was outbuilding Gibson in quality, and this is why. This is a guitar that was made initially for, I don't know if it was Loretta Lynn or somebody else. Maybe this is the Frontier. What's the other one called? The Frontier Excellente. Excellente was Loretta Lynn's guitar. This one was built for somebody else in Nashville. And the design just stayed because it was so good. Mm-hmm. Full maple dreadnought, mahogany neck.
Do you still have the Excellente?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think I have one anymore. I might have. I don't know. I have to check the list. But the IBGs are just great guitars. I should have one actually. I think I do. I don't know.
The Exolante?
Pretty sure
I
I have
think you
one.
got rid of it.
Maybe.
Something tells me.
I don't know. I get so many guitars I don't even know. Okay, next.
Super chat from Mark Smith.
Mark Smith.
Hey, Mark.
Get in, buddy.
How are you, brother?
Explain what the difference is between perfect timing and groove. Feel when playing live or recording.
Ooh, wow.
Jesus.
Got 3 hours?
Yeah, there's no time.
What were we listening to
You
tonight?
can-
Oh, we were listening to Alison Krauss and Union Station.
Yeah.
They're the perfect blend of perfect timing and groove.
Yeah. But it's more timing. So, here's what perfect timing is, of course, is. And so here's why it's so complicated to explain perfect timing. Depending on the genre of music you're playing, perfect timing is not the same.
Yeah.
Perfect timing in bluegrass is always on top of the beat, with the bass being slightly behind the beat, right? Perfect timing in jazz is everything behind the beat, where you're just on the edge of decreasing tempo.
Yeah.
It's so laid back.
Is that perfect timing or is that jazz groove?
No. I'm talking about two different things. I'm talking.
Yeah.
This is all metronomic timing, right? Country music is right straight in,
Down the middle.
down the middle, right on the beat.
Yeah.
Classical music is depending on the conductor, whether or not the band plays ahead of the beat or behind the beat, or he splits the orchestra into different places that do different things. So that's metronomic timing, right? So that's timing. Groove is when you're playing in metronomic perfect timing, right? And you decide, let's say the drummer decides that he's going to play slightly ahead of the beat, right? Or slightly behind.
Mm-hmm. Or syncopate.
Or syncopate that.
Yeah.
Or change it from verse to chorus.
Yep.
Right? That's groove.
So, Ringo Starr tonight.
Groove. Deluxe.
Yeah.
Perfect
What
timing.
was the song we were listening to tonight?
All his fills were way behind.
Yeah.
But he never lost the beat.
Yeah.
He never lost time.
And the syncopation giving the groove
Insane.
to insane for something so simple,
Yep.
right?
And that's what creates groove.
Yeah.
Is everybody deciding subconsciously. It isn't. You don't discuss this because you hear it. So if a group of musicians decide this is the groove, this is the tempo,
Yeah.
68 or whatever it is, 98, 110, and everybody decides that it's not just it's
Yeah. Because that's surgical, and it comes off surgically. Yeah. Alison Krauss and Union Station.
You know what I mean? That's
Ron
groove,
Block the
right?
clock,
Yeah.
right? But then you have Jerry Douglas, right?
Yeah.
And you have Barry Bales playing bass. That's the groove in that band, right?
And what's really scary about groove is it can be contained in only a part of the band. The bass and drummer can create the entire groove, but the rest of the band can do what they want against that.
Mm-hmm.
And they push and pull, right? But the tempo, the beat, the BPM
Yeah.
never changes.
Yeah.
But they're pulling and pushing against, and that's groove.
Yeah.
Is when you're pushing and pulling against the BPM. Because the BPM is fucking boring.
Yeah.
So
It's surgical.
it's
like-
too surgical, right? So you want to be in this headspace where, okay, it's 110. But there's all kinds of space in there. You know, there's all kinds of ways to play in that cage.
And it
right?
changes. But you're right. It changes depending on the genre, too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And it also has to do with one last thing, and this isn't the final thing by far, because it's just too much. There's too much to describe when you're talking about this stuff. But the biggest part of the groove, when you listen to great guitar players, especially when they're playing with a band or even playing alone, right? The space between the notes is the groove.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
It isn't the notes at all. It's
Yeah.
the space between them. Whether a guy, decides to play a bunch of eighth notes or a 1/4 note
Yeah.
in an odd place, it changes the groove, right?
Yeah.
And that's,
Even what
George-
you don't play
right.
can change
Exactly,
the groove,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
George Benson, Django
Yeah.
Reinhardt,
Yeah.
Pat Metheny.
Freddie Washington Jr.
Exactly. The notes that aren't played,
Yeah.
the space between them, is what creates the tension of the groove, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Stevie Wonder. Groove.
you don't even know where
It is.
where the beat is sometimes,
Yeah.
because he's so all around it and
He's
it's never
so
moving.
fluid, yeah.
BPM is right on,
But he's so
but
fluid.
he's like Superstition.
Yeah.
Superstition is one of the greatest
Sir Duke.
groove
Sir Duke.
ever done. And it is dead on the money
Yeah.
because he's using a click track.
Yeah.
He played
Well,
all.
and he's playing a clav, so that's what is more straight and square than a clavinet, right?
But he played against a click track.
Yeah.
Obviously, he had to.
Yeah.
But he made it look ding 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 ding
Yeah.
ding ding, 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 and all the different parts are hitting the foundation notes of the beat, but they're all hitting it at different times with different instruments.
Yeah.
Right, and that creates so much.
Do you know it was
groove.
one? Do you know it was one in the '80s that really threw people for a loop? Was Herbie Hancock "Rocket"?
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
remember that?
Yeah,
Like you want to talk groove,
yeah.
but just people weren't ready for
No.
that. Yeah.
Most of us aren't.
Yeah,
We
that's
have to.
such a good question.
We have to go for groove in really weird ways if we're not used to it.
Yeah.
We just have to, scrape the cream off the top and just take that.
Yes.
There's so much down below that it takes a lifetime to get into that rabbit hole, right? And know it.
Because I know that we listen to stuff differently than average people,
Yeah.
and we listen to things way differently between the two of us, because you listen to it artistically, I listen to it mathematically,
Yeah.
right? But sometimes I feel sorry for some people because they don't understand groove or timing.
They don't know why the music's affecting them the way it does.
Yeah.
And that's why it does.
Yeah. And it makes, like, I've seen music turn people who are so straight and square into blubbering idiots,
Yep.
and they don't get it, and it makes them mad.
I'm going to tell you one of the greatest examples of groove ever recorded on wax ever in the history of music. Heartbreak Hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the
Jackson
greatest
5?
groove. No, Elvis. Jesus Christ.
Jackson 5 did
That is the greatest example of groove
it. Yep.
ever done. And guess who produced that record? Chet Atkins in RCA Studio A. And it was just Elvis,
I can hear it.
Elvis and the three boys and the piano player.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it.
You think
And
of
think
that
about-
band and how stripped down it was.
Yeah.
Right?
They created unbelievable
Space.
This
Out
environment.
of nothing.
Out of nothing. Drums, upright bass, and one electric guitar.
Yeah.
And they created this environment.
His acoustic was a prop.
He
It was
didn't play.
nothing
He
but a
didn't
prop.
play on
Yeah.
Heartbreak
Yeah.
Hotel.
It was a prop.
He was alone.
Yeah.
He didn't. He just sang. And the piano player.
I just mean generally his guitar was a prop.
Floyd Kramer played the piano,
Yeah.
and that was it. 4 instruments and 1 voice, and they created the most incredible groove.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Just when you listen to that record, you go, "What?
Yeah.
Are you serious?" And because there's nothing on it.
I think of groove, and I
Right,
think of
like-
so much funk stuff from the '80s and that.
That's a
But
whole
you're
other
right.
world. That's a whole other world.
It's a whole other world, but
Yeah.
like you're right, old rock and roll. There's some like stellar examples of groove to that.
Here's another interesting thing I should mention is that Heartbreak Hotel starts out with just his vocal. His vocal created the groove.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There was no metronome. They didn't use metronomes then. His voice. Well, since my baby left me.
Yeah.
Da-ba, and Floyd goes da-da on the piano.
Yeah.
Like, that was it. He was creating the groove. And,
Well,
he held down the tempo, right?
Yeah.
With his voice.
But he bent the time all over the place
yeah.
while he was doing it.
But
right?
it didn't go up or down. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
When you listen to that recording.
Yeah, killer song.
When you listen to that recording, you just go, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, these guys were on fire. Like, they were in the studio live, off the floor, no overdubs. This was it.
So, who can listen to that today in our minutia, bite size? Everything has to be like, everything is just so much in your face. I feel sorry, like, for people who can't enjoy something simplistic. That's my fear of like, we just want so much all the time. We can't stop. Nobody even has a 3-minute attention span.
No. And that's what they used to say years ago, like, if a song was more than 2:30, it wouldn't get on the radio.
Right.
And they were wrong about that. They were wrong, the people's attention spans.
Hotel California.
Yeah. And the Boxer.
And
there's a bunch of songs that were way longer than 2.5 minutes that were number one hits. Mm-hmm. All through the 60s
Wreck of
and
the
70s.
Edmund Fitzgerald.
Yeah, 60s, 70s, all kinds of it.
Yeah.
And then in the 80s, they clamped down on us and said, no, 3 minutes or nothing.
Yeah.
Right? So we're a byproduct almost of what the industry demanded be done.
I think we're getting away from it in a good way now, but there's just so much of everything out there that it's hard to appreciate.
There's too much.
All right. Well,
there
that's
is
it.
too much.
Okay, thanks for coming. Because nobody's listening anymore.
Some of it's shit.
We've gone over 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
Question from Daniel Smith.
Daniel Smith.
Rabbit hole.
Can you discuss how you like your guitar set up and how high the action is?
Well, that's pretty easy. So, I like my action real low. So, the action at the 12th fret on the E string is 2.25 millimeters. That's it.
Yeah.
And once you have that happening, the E string is going to fall in the line.
Mm.
If there's something wrong with the E string that's too low at that point, something wrong everywhere.
And that's a stylistic thing for you.
Yeah.
Due to the way you play.
Yep.
The weight you play at. The strings you use, right? That's where the guitar functions for you.
This guitar is nearly perfect.
Yeah.
Almost absolute perfection. The 12th string at the 12th, or the big E at the 12th fret,
2.5
2.25 mils. Yeah. And like I said, if that's happening on the bass end, your E string is going to be like, what,
a little lower.
75?
Yeah, 175, 185, 190. Yeah, somewhere in there. Between 175 and 2.
But that's going to be the deal because the bridge, the saddle, is cut is radius that way, right? So that's about it. I used to use really primitive methods, like being able to put a quarter underneath the E string at the 12th fret. If I could do that without causing too much friction, the action was perfect. So it's fucking low, really low.
Yeah.
But I've spent 50 years figuring out exactly how to hit the guitar so it doesn't rattle, so it doesn't buzz. Mm-hmm. I know how to touch a guitar so it won't.
You don't thrash a guitar.
No.
No.
I do, but it's a weird thrashing. I know how to hit it so it won't. So the strings go this way instead of that way.
Yeah.
Right? That's the big thing with guitars is when people pluck them. Yeah. The string goes like this, and you're just slapping the shit out of the neck, right? You need to make the strings go like that, all the way down, never like this. Mm. If you're plucking outwards, right?
We're having an intruder alert out there.
No, we basically get dogs.
Run our
Dogs
lives.
gone wild.
That's, our whole neighborhood is dogs gone wild.
I'd ask for another question, but
But we're alone.
we're alone.
We could play a tune.
I'll just play this epiphone.
Yeah.
I haven't had it at the case for a while.
It could use a little humidity.
Don't die, Jack.
Just ran all the way up the stairs.
What a great sounding guitar.
It's killer.
Yeah.
You gonna live, Jacko?
No, probably.
I might.
Archie was here, and now I'm
He's
just
got the
panicking.
staggers.
Okay.
Yeah,
Poor
Yeah.
buddy. You
Poor
alright,
Jack.
buddy?
he's gonna fall down.
Don't fall down, buddy.
His tail curled under there.
He's got the staggers.
Yeah.
He's getting pretty sick. He's still game though. Holy shit, he's got a lot of he's got a lot of heart, that dog.
You're a good boy, Jack. I got it. It's fine.
Jeez, poor buddy. It's just my heart. It's just coming out my rib cage.
It's a lot of stairs up
It's
here.
okay.
I got a super chat from Blair Svensson.
Hey,
Blair's
Blair,
Feinstein.
how's things out west? Oh, I know. I was just there.
There you go.
Yeah. Things are good out west.
He says, speaking of Bruce Cockburn and the slow burn, one of his song titles, 40 Years in the Wilderness. I don't know if there's more to that question, or...
I don't
Is there a slow burn to that?
really know that
I'll have
song.
to go and Google that.
I'd have to
one.
look it up.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest
Coburn fan?
oh no, I love Cockburn.
Yeah.
I'm just not familiar with
himself?
Yeah.
I'm just not familiar with all of his
His
music.
catalog. Yeah.
He's got so much great stuff
Yeah.
that you gravitate towards it, and then you get stuck on certain stuff, right? Which I have over my lifetime. You doing, buddy?
Beans.
Poor old Jack. He's not coughing, but he's like, yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna die yet or not. I don't know. My heart's
What to
coming up
do?
my arsehole.
What to do, live or die?
What to do?
Poor buddy.
Jackie.
It's the buzz.
Poor Jacko.
Check for ticks. Sweet baby Jesus, Jack.
Legs are sore.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's hurting. Poor buddy. Too many stairs.
Too many stairs.
Okay, next.
I got a highlighted chat from Colin Dolan.
Colin
Hey,
Dolan,
Colin.
Ireland.
Happy Wednesday.
There is FG5, FG9. Will there be an FG?
What? FG5, FG9?
He says, will there be an FG? Like, with no number, I guess? I don't know.
Okay, so I shouldn't say this, but I don't care because I don't give a shit. There's going to be an FG7. So I've been told. Whether that's true or not, whether that's actually going to happen, I've been told that there will be an FG7, which is a level below the 9s, because the 9s are immensely expensive for people. They're like $6,000, right? After tax here in Canada. And they're the best friggin' production guitars in the world. In my opinion, there's no other high volume factory that's building guitars like FG9s. I'm sorry. fight me.
Yeah.
They're the best things on the
How
planet.
much did you say?
They're about $6,000.
$6,000. Yeah.
So the FG7, well, they're going to do the same thing they did with the L series, right? Poor buddy. They're going to have 56, 36, 26, 16.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the 9s, there's going to be 9, 7, probably be an FG6. It's above the FG5 that puts it in that realm of being handmade.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's going on with Yamaha right now because they're very secretive, right?
Yeah. They've been quiet lately, actually.
They have been really quiet.
Yeah.
Especially since the FG9s came out, right?
Yeah.
So expect anything. Yamaha is one of the greatest guitar companies in the history of guitar.
Yeah.
And they're going to come out with great guitars.
In the history of anything.
Yeah.
They don't
just
do
unbelievable.
anything bad.
No, they don't. And you can say whatever you want to.
Yeah.
Yamaha is one of the best guitar builders ever in the history of
anything
guitar.
builder.
Yeah.
Best motorcycle builder.
Yeah.
Best grand piano builder.
Yeah, they are.
Best saxophone builder.
Yeah. Best keyboard builder.
Best amplifier
I've been
builder.
using a Tyros
Yeah.
3 or 5. It's a 3, right?
Yeah.
I've been using that thing for 15 years,
Yeah.
and it's never failed. It has some of the most incredible processing and
Yeah.
multi-tracking, sampling. Everything's on that keyboard.
Yep.
I've had that in my studio for 15 years.
Yep.
I need a new one, but I don't want to replace that one because I love it.
I had a client
Right.
bring me some old Yamaha commercial, pro audio gear.
Mm-hmm.
One of their crossovers
Yep.
from the early '80s, amplifiers, graphic EQs,
Yep.
and I remember all this stuff from when I was cutting my teeth in the business. It's built like a brick shithouse, and it's still there's nothing that can compare.
My brother Joe was always from the early 70s on, always had the best component stereo gear.
Yamaha,
And well, before Yamaha, it was realistic and techniques.
techniques.
They had that was the stuff that everybody wanted. And then he started getting the Yamaha a
Yeah.
little bit, right? Yamaha was refined when that started coming out in the 70s. Black face with the green, everything was green, like green print on it.
I remember.
Or yellow. It was
I
green
remember
and
the
yellow,
first
right?
Yamaha CD player.
Yeah.
Because Yamaha and Philips, right? And getting trained on working on CD players.
Yeah.
How to fix CD players. Now they work.
They were
Yamaha
before.
was right there.
They built all that before Sony.
Yeah.
Yamaha did it. Yamaha and Pioneer.
Mm-hmm.
Before Sony ever thought of doing anything like the Walkman or anything, Yamaha Pioneer did all that stuff.
Sony pioneered the Walkman.
But that was after the actual, I'm talking about CD technology, the high quality.
Well, we're talking cassette.
Started
the Walkman.
Oh, yeah.
That was a Sony thing.
To
the point where Walkman is a Sony trade name.
Yes.
But everybody called them Walkmans because of
Remember Iowa?
Iowa, AWIA.
Yeah. I had an Iowa Walkman cassette player.
Yeah.
That was the best piece of equipment I ever owned in my life. That thing sounded so good. It had the greatest. Today we call it a DAC, but back then it was just the preamp that ran the headphone jack.
Mm-hmm.
Holy God, it was unbelievable, and it was a mini jack.
Yeah.
It was the first technology that ever addressed the problem of trying to force all that great audio down this stupid little plug, right? Not a 1/4 inch, but a fucking whatever they are.
Under like a 1/8 or
a
sub-mini.
1/8, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another rabbit hole altogether. But yeah, this guy knows all of that. You were there.
I
for
still
all of it.
have my Sony WM2 Walkman, cassette Walkman.
Yep. I bet it works, don't you? Kept it
does
working.
work, yeah.
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 Connect.
Question from Mike Vincent.
Mike Vincent.
Hello, Mike Vincent.
Do you still have the FGX5?
Where's the book?
Oh, it's outside, maybe.
Oh.
No.
Is that it? There? Is it?
Something tells me I want to say yes. I'm pretty sure I do. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have it.
That's the tag. Is that the tag?
The red label.
Yeah, red label.
Yeah, I think you get the red label.
I'm pretty sure I still have that. Yeah, I haven't seen it for a while. I'm going through all the guitars. They're actually having a huge cull here
There's
Hasn't
a
been
clearance
its
this
turn.
week.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be getting rid of a lot of stuff that I'm not
There is
playing.
no room. You can't sit on the sofas in
Yeah,
here.
I have no bad guitars.
Mm-hmm.
But I have guitars that are not going to be in my will.
Mm-hmm.
Those have to go. And, yeah.
Guitar
yeah.
warehouse.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Crazy
have-
J's Guitar
I
Warehouse.
have to get rid of
Crazy
some of them
J.
because they're all going out to trade at L&M. I'm
Come down to Crazy John's Guitar Warehouse. How do we keep our prices so low?
No,
volume,
no,
volume, volume.
Yeah. Connect.
Super chat from Jamie Reed.
Jamie Reed.
Hello, Jamie Reed.
Did Glenn Campbell influence you at all? What a guy.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Oh my God. I've talked about this before, but I won't spend much time on it. But there was an album in the 70s, actually the late 60s, called The Astounding 12-String Guitar of Glenn Campbell. And I had that on vinyl. It came from Columbia House.
Okay.
My mother bought it on Columbia House. It came in vinyl record. I think I have a copy of it here. But it's also online. If you want to hear something that'll blow your fucking mind,
So what
Apart.
tunes were on that people would know?
Lonesome 12,
Okay.
Blowing in the Wind, Whim Away.
Oh, Whim Away.
Oh yeah, he did all these.
He schlocked it right up, did he?
Killed it. He just killed it. All on the old, it was like a B-52, whatever the hell they call it, Gibson
Yeah.
12-string with the trapeze
Yeah.
tailpiece. It's just unreal.
Do you know what the shitty thing about Columbia House was? They didn't give you the full liner notes and stuff. Like the packaging.
in the 60s, and 70s they did.
Not in the 80s.
Not in the 80s,
or
no.
70s, and not in the 70s and 80s either. You didn't get the same
So you get,
artwork and all the liner notes.
KTEL packaging.
Yeah, you didn't get all the liner notes.
No.
Yeah.
But that album,
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna get fucking dinged for this. I don't care.
Just
When
played
I
a
was
little bit
kid-
wrong.
When I was a kid, when I was 8 years old, I entered a guitar competition, and it was really funny because Gordy Tapp was one of the judges, and when he saw how little I was, he ran up on stage and took the mic out of the stand and held it in front of my guitar for me. And one of the things that I played was off that record. And I went through, and I played all the solos that Glenn took, which were just
Yeah.
ridiculous. I learned that when I was like 7 years old, and but I won the contest. It was everybody else was an adult. And I had taken all. It's on the records. Like I put. It's been on here. I've done it on the Primary Color show and all that shit. But that was Glenn Campbell. Glenn Campbell is one of the greatest, most underrated guitar
And
players that
can't-
ever lived. Man.
Can't
Like,
read music.
couldn't read a shit.
Couldn't read music.
Couldn't read a love letter.
Yeah.
Nothing. No.
Every time I hear Glenn Campbell, even though I grew up with him, because my parents played him all the time, all I can hear is the opening to Wichita Lineman.
Oh yeah.
Carol Kay.
But this, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Wrecking.
We're all
Back
think-
to the Wrecking Crew.
We're all thinking about her these days.
Glenn Campbell was part of the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
Like he was.
He played diddly-dee, that was Glenn Campbell
Yeah.
on the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
That was him.
And Tommy Tedesco.
Yeah.
Him and Tommy Tedesco.
Unbelievable. What that
Yeah.
guy, the music that man played. Like he started in the business in Nashville in the 58, 59.
Yeah.
And started out with a bluegrass record.
Yeah.
He's a bluegrasser. And he just went on from there. Hit the Wrecking Crew. Then he met Buddy wrote all the songs. What's his?
Buddy who wrote all the songs.
The guy.
That guy, yeah.
Buddy, what's his
Yeah,
name?
that guy. There's a few of them.
No, the guy that wrote all his famous songs. Wichita Lineman, Galveston. That guy.
Yeah,
He met that guy and just exploded.
yeah.
The world couldn't say no to Glenn Campbell. He
No.
was so fucking good. He had a great writer. He didn't write any songs himself, but he had, what is that guy's name? Oh God,
It'll
somebody
come
out there knows his name. He wrote every Glenn Campbell hit. He wrote Galveston. By the time I get to Phoenix, he wrote MacArthur Park.
Yeah.
This guy he's still alive. He's an old man now, but anyhow, Glenn Campbell, he's like there in my echelon of everything.
And
Songwriter, singer, guitar player, performer,
musician.
just an incredible musician, right? Like,
Think of those partnerships. There's a rabbit hole.
yeah.
Elton John,
And
Bernie
Bernie
Taupin,
Taupin, yeah,
right?
Yeah, there'd be nothing. There'd be nothing.
There would be no Elton John without Bernie
Yeah.
Taupin.
Simon and Garfunkel,
Simon and
the
Garfunkel.
greatest bands ever.
Yeah.
Simon did all the writing for that shit,
Yeah.
right? The Police.
The Police.
Sting wrote all the stuff with those guys.
Stuart Copeland was just an annoyance.
Yeah, apparently.
But what a drummer.
But the thing is, like the partnerships between the Beatles,
Yeah.
Lennon and McCartney,
Yeah.
they worked together in such a way that
It's like
You know what I mean?
it's ironic. It's the greatest downfall sometimes.
yeah,
Look at the Eagles. Where would they be without J.D. Souther?
yeah, exactly.
Jackson Brown.
And nobody ever realized like,
Right.
how much they were involved.
Until you get into
Yeah.
get down the rabbit hole,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
That's a whole other show.
And then you got A.P. Carter that stole every fucking song he ever recorded. They didn't write Wildwood Flower.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that was from England.
Yeah.
But according to Rose,
Carter family.
according to Acuff Rose, he wrote it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will the Circle Be Unbroken? He never wrote that either. He didn't.
I just had something.
The Carter family's a fucking hoax.
Yeah.
I love them though.
They're Americana.
Yeah, but they didn't write shit.
They didn't need to.
He
They
collected.
didn't need to in that day.
They drove around the southern states for fucking 10 years collecting songs. And then he said, I wrote these. And he gave them to Acuff Rose, and they published it and made $1 billion.
I arranged this.
You know what? On that subject, A.P. Carter died a pauper.
Mm-hmm.
He died a pauper. He had no money. They were broke, destitute when he died. And now, guess what is the most valuable publishing catalog in the history of music? The Carter family.
Yeah.
It is. It's made billions of dollars. How many times has those songs been
Being covered.
sung
Yeah.
and covered? We don't even know
Yeah.
some of the stuff that we sing. Oh shit, that was
Carter
A.P.
family,
Carter
yeah.
found that, right? And got credit for writing it. So the Acuff Rose got all the money. It's the most valuable publishing catalog in the history of music.
Mm-hmm.
And A.P.
Sure about
Carter
that.
died a pauper. That's not right.
It's the way of the way of the business.
They started. They supposedly invented country music, right?
Yeah.
Holy shit! It was happening that far back
Yeah.
that guy in the 30s.
Well, and
got
look
screwed by the industry.
and look at how many
Nothing's
times
changed,
look
right?
at how many times it's happened.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson bought the Beatles,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Industry tried to buy Taylor Swift.
Yep.
She just bought it back,
Yep.
right? Love to see how much that cost.
And the other thing I loved was recently. I don't even know who it was because I'm not up on the current things, but there was an award show recently where a white woman who was presenting an award was up there with a black artist, and she said something about the Carter family inventing country music, and the black artist
What?
just looked at her like,
Yeah.
honest to God, black people invented all that stuff.
Everything.
They did.
Everything.
All of it. They invented the blues. They invented banjo. Banjos
Gospel.
are African. Yeah, all of it.
Everything.
The white people didn't do shit. They were coming over. Seriously.
I know.
They were coming over with Celtic music
Yeah.
and chamber music
Yeah.
and stuff from the UK and Europe and blah blah blah. But the real American, including jazz, all black.
Yeah.
Right? And now we're saying like, oh, the Carter family did this, blah 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 blah. Bullshit.
White people need a good smack upside
They need
the
a
head and spank 'em.
goddamn boot in the fucking head, the whole load of them.
Yeah.
Here's to the black folks everywhere that did all the shit that we were trying to copy for the last 150 years. I love my black people.
That's a weird shit thing to say.
Wow.
I can't help it.
Wow.
That's true. I lived in Mississippi for 10 years, Alabama, Mississippi, went to college, Mississippi. The black people there treated me like family. They were the greatest
Doesn't
humans
matter.
I ever met.
And it doesn't matter what the fuck color you are,
No.
right?
But they don't see it that way down there. They're still faced with all the racism and everything, right?
Yeah.
When I was down there and working with those guys, they laugh at me because they knew it wasn't a racist bone in my body.
White music is like North American food to me.
Yeah.
No taste.
No taste. And no,
Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, that's the great thing about folk festivals. You can hear so many things from around the world and go, not buying that CD, but this is an interesting hour
Oh yeah.
to hear this band.
Yep.
And the influences, because everything is folk music, and none of it came from here.
I used to play with a black gospel band in Mississippi called the Gospel Airs, and the guitar player for the band was named Larry Williams, and he was one of the most terrifying guitar players I ever met. He played he made up his own tunings. He didn't know standard tuning. He never learned it. So he tuned his guitar in like ninth chords and seventh chords, and could play
All these open
killer lines,
Yeah.
like just no pick, like Gatemouth Brown, right? And I would sit there and look at him and go, "Holy Jesus!"
Yeah.
Like this is.
It's math at a different level.
Yeah,
right?
I'm right in the middle of why I'm a guitar player.
But it's math
Right?
that nobody can learn because it only makes sense to him.
Right.
Because it's the way his brain is working
Yeah.
and wired,
But
right?
the way it hits my ear and
Yeah.
other people's ear, right?
Yeah.
That's what created all of it.
Yeah.
That's what created all of it. I was in the heart of that stuff for years. And I have such a huge respect and love for those people, because it seems like the further we go down the timeline, the less credit we give them. I don't know what the hell's going on right now, but I see it happening. It's like, no, boys, you need to like take a close look. Like, look at Bill Monroe. Bill Monroe instantly credits the black community with all the music. He said, "No, I heard there was an old black man who lived up the road from me, and he sang these songs." Like, he knows, and so did Doc Watson. Doc Watson was taught by black players in North Carolina, right? And we really got to go back to the beginning and go, this has been my thing forever. You got to know. You have to look back to know where forward is, right? And I feel sometimes now, over the last couple of years, we're starting to lose track of not only with that scene, but with the Celtic scene. You know
Because
what I mean? It's
everything's
happening everywhere,
homogenous.
right?
Everything's being homogenized.
Yeah.
The reason people did those tunings, because they didn't have the internet. They didn't.
Yeah.
They weren't able to take a guitar lesson
They
online.
They just wanted to do
for
something
free
sounded
and
good.
right. So they
Yeah.
did. They did their own tuning.
Yep.
And it was them. It was
I'll
their
tell you.
brain, and it was their sound.
Larry
and we
Wil-
don't get that anymore.
Larry Williams is one of the greatest guitar players I ever heard. Ever.
I love hearing people do
Yep.
non-standard tunings.
Oh man.
Right?
Imagine a guy tuned in a ninth chord.
Yeah.
He did that.
Yeah.
He would mess with shit while he was in the middle of a show, I'm going to turn this other way.
Yeah.
And just like tear. Me and him, we were the lead guitar players for the band.
Yeah.
So I was the only white guy in the whole crew, like, and the whole venue.
Yeah.
Because we played in Black Baptist churches, right?
Yeah.
I was the only white man in the building. And they just, like, come on in. At first, they were like, they couldn't believe I was standing there. Then after I played, they were like, yeah! I couldn't believe how, that was the most fun I ever had in my life.
Say what you want about Gunning.
Yeah.
Some of Dave's best tunes are in tunings he can't even reproduce today.
No.
He
Oh, yeah.
It came in his head. He did
Yeah,
it. He learned it. He recorded it.
Yeah.
And you say, Dave, play this tune. And he's like, yeah, I don't have a clue how to play it anymore.
Yeah.
It was in a weird tuning that I came up with.
And that's the great thing about guitar players. Guitar players from all corners.
Yeah.
Like, you have the great dadgad players that all originated in the UK.
Yeah.
You have the great open G players that originated, all the black players in the southern United States. It influenced. And here's another thing that we just can't forget is Hawaii.
Oh, King guitar.
The slack key players there. That's what happened to them too.
Yeah.
They got guitars.
Yeah.
And they were tuned to play in your lap with a bar.
Like a lap steel.
Open keys, and then somebody went, well, why couldn't I like play that like a guitar?
Right.
And then you got Ledward Capana, and you've got all these guys, right? It changed everything, right?
But it took separation to make that happen. It took no exchange of information to make that happen.
Right back to question one.
Right.
What is the great equalizer?
Yeah.
Isolation. I think we need to go to the last question. Is there any? Because that was a wicked tie-in right there. That's exactly how we should end the show right there. Because that truly tells the whole story of what it takes to be a great builder or player, and we just tied in the whole goddamn world in one sentence.
Are you happy now with yourself?
I am pretty happy. That was pretty clever. We didn't even mean that to happen.
Did you really tie that up?
Yes, we did. There's a goddamn big red bow on that sumbitch, and it's shiny and red.
Wow, you ran out of adjectives that fast.
Is there any more questions?
There are.
Oh
God.
A question from CPR.
That's what this show needs.
So Jack might
You'll
need
need
later.
if you keep drinking that fucking tequila.
He wants to know how you feel about the Yamaha Transacoustics. I purchased one because of him and want to know his take.
I love them. I would never use them because I don't have any purposing in my live show for onboard effects.
Yeah.
But in my opinion,
It's very cool.
Yamaha makes the best version of that ever made.
Yeah. We played with it here one day and
They're
like blown
incredible.
away.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And secondarily to that, they always put that system in the best built guitars that they can do for that price range.
Yeah.
So the guitar itself sounds incredible.
Yeah.
Then it has all the candy too, right?
Yeah.
But I personally wouldn't use one because I have effects on my amp and blah blah blah.
But you don't use effects.
You use
reverb.
reverb.
You use a little tiny bit of reverb.
I'm a shit in, shit out guy. What I play, I want to come out of the speaker.
But like, even if you you don't want a wedge. Even if there is a wedge, you don't want any effects in it or anything in it except a little bit of guitar
and my vocal. That's
yeah.
It. Yeah.
But like, you're like so stripped down.
It's because I'm old and farty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just old and bitter.
Brittle.
Brittle and bitter. Brittle.
Kerr. Next.
Super chat from JJ Allen.
JJ.
Will Boucher apply torrefied mahogany to more than the BGs?
I don't know. That's a question I would have no idea.
Robin.
But Guillaume's coming in a week or so. He will tell us. So stay tuned. Okay, next.
Let's see here.
Any more super chats?
No.
Okay. So the question this week is, What was the name of the black gospel band that I played with in in Alabama? That is the question. And I have no doubt that they're still going because they were a legacy group. So as the old man...
The Temptations.
So as the old men passed away, their children and grandchildren came into the band. So I got to work with one of the second generation founder. He didn't play anymore, he couldn't. But he would MC. So he'd be up in the front of the stage with a mic introducing everybody, and he'd call to prayer and call to worship and do all the stuff, right? But that was the most incredible thing I ever saw. Our drummer was 14 years old.
Whoa.
And he was one of the
Killer.
best I ever saw.
Yeah.
And he was a son or grandson of one of the founders. Like, they started in the 40s, and I joined them in 91. So they'd already been 50 years. Like,
Going.
it was killer. Yeah.
Like the Sanctified Brothers.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Same idea.
Like an old
And the Blind Boys of
Sanctified
Alabama, they
Yeah.
came from that same kind of a line of gospel band too.
Yeah.
And the stamps,
Yeah.
not the stamps. Sorry, pop. Shit. I get Alzheimer's. I know I do. Staples. The Staples Quartet. Pop Staples.
I'll have to go look that up.
Look them up. They were the same way. The Staples, they came from way, way back. And as people passed away or retired, they got the younger people from the family to go in. Oh, yeah.
Nothing better than a family band.
Marty Stewart recorded with them and toured with them. I met them. I sang with them too. Me and Jerry and Tammy sang with the Pop Staples and the Staples Quartet. It was crazy. They were so good. So good. Didn't need a band. They were so musical vocally, in 4 or 5 part harmony. You're just like, you just didn't know what
Just
to
sing.
do. Yeah, just do whatever. The name of the band I played with in Alabama, I said it twice through the night.
Captain Underpants.
Captain Underpants.
We got the Gospelers.
What?
The Gospelers. Gospelers.
That's close, sort of.
Gospel Layers.
That's close.
Jordanaires.
Oh, that's really close too. It is. I'll give you a hint. It is Airs.
The Legionnaires.
No.
The Staples.
No.
The Blind Boys of Alabama.
No. But all those guys I know.
The Gospelaires.
Oh, that's so close. It is Airs. It is
The
something
Jackson
Airs.
5.
It is something Airs.
The Jackson 5.
I'll give you a hint. John Wayne.
The Mississippi Mass Choir.
No. I know
Sullivan.
those guys too.
The Sullivan Family.
I played with the. I believe with the Mississippi Mass Choir.
The McDonald's Pipe and Drum Band.
the Sullivan.
John Wayne.
Hey,
John Wayne. He
oh my
called
God.
people this.
The Sullivan Family.
No.
Tonto.
Billy Zings.
Tonto.
You just laugh and burp simultaneously.
Almost.
What did John Wayne call people? Well,
Partner.
no.
The Harlem Gospelaires.
No. You're
The Harlem Globetrotter
getting
era.
closer and closer.
Earth, Wind, and JP.
No.
Sly and the Family Stone.
I think this is the one week we're not going to have anybody.
The Zero Standards.
They weren't listening.
Earth, Wind, and Dry Ice.
Yeah, the Sullivans.
No.
The Boys from Down Under.
The boys from down under.
A Flock of Seagulls.
The Burnt Hairs.
The
The Duke Airs.
The Duke Airs. What did John Wayne call people all the time?
I don't know.
Whenever he addressed
Yeah.
a stranger, he'd be like, "All right, there," and he'd say this word.
The Pilgrim Airs?
There you go. Who did that?
The first one was Iggy Whiskers.
She's 16. Who's
Okay, next is Bronze Snake.
Who?
Bronze Snake.
Bronze. It's number 2.
All right.
Who's next?
Ian Hall.
Ian Hull.
Hall. Yeah.
H.A.L.
Hall.
Hall. Yes. Like
You're number 19, Ian. Let's take another one just for fun.
That's Kenny Holden.
Oh.
He's number 11.
Yeah, he's already on there.
Oh, geez. Okay. Kyle Moran.
Kyle, you're number 20.
Oh,
Kenny,
like as in added now. Okay. We're
You
on
slide
20.
dog, Kenny.
All right, boys and girls.
Whew, thank Christ. Thank you.
That was really fun.
Thank you, boys and girls, for putting us out of our misery.
Somebody finally got the Pilgrim Airs. I love you guys, and we appreciate you being here with us. And we will see you next week.
I don't know.
don't know.
I won't be here, but
Where are you?
I'm in the land of broken dreams.
The land of broken dreams.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be taking a deep inhalation of disappointment and broken dreams. Yeah, failure and...
Love you guys. Thanks for staying with us all these years. And
It is years.
It is years. It's
How
crazy.
many years is it?
It's getting close to 6 now.
When was the pandemic?
I don't know. I don't even care. I'm just glad it's over. Special thanks from me, Mr. Coot.
You
lovely
just give
ginger.
yourself special thanks.
What?
Special thanks to yourself?
Yeah.
Is that what you just did?
No, I just said special thanks from Coot. You're not listening. She never listens.
You said,
Okay, Austin Powers, end the show.
You know, I'll tell you a good joke.
Good one.
I need to drive the Kubota into the woods. Fight through it.
So,
Yep. We're all listening.
me and Ginger was in the kitchen one day,
Yep.
and
What were you doing?
I don't know. I can't do this joke. I might get divorced.
Say goodnight, JP.
Because I'm going to get it wrong.
Say goodnight, JP.
I haven't done it in so long that I can't remember which one of us has to say what. So, yeah.
Next time.
Yeah.
Leave some time for rehearsal.
Okay, we're in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And
Go for it.
and she says to me, Jesus Christ, JP, you don't listen to me ever. You know, if you're not gonna listen to me anymore, I'm trying to tell you something, you ain't gonna see me for a week. And sure enough, she said something a little while later. I didn't pay no attention. I didn't see her for a week. The second week, I saw her a little bit out of one eye.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
That's a Jimmy Flynn almost.
There you go. There you go. Love you guys.
Oh,
String
my
3.
God.
Blah, blah, blah.